All right, let's just look quickly at the airlines assignment. So you start out by running these 6 cells here, which are hidden. You're free to look at them. Basically, they're just kind of taking a couple of different data frames, pulling them together, making a couple changes to them. Okay, so then when you look at the actual data frame you'll be working with, you can see that it has date, year, month. This is the airport that the flight leaves from, and these are all U.S. based airports. And these are the flights, the airports that they go to. And you can see that we have an airport code, an airport name, a city name, a country name. And so what you can see, and we can look at, we'll just look at a sample of these. So we do df sample, so they're not all at the beginning and not all at the end. And we'll do, I don't know, we'll do maybe 20 of these. And when we do that, we can see that we get all these flights, and you can see that these are all international flights. So starting in the US and going overseas somewhere. And it tells us the airline ID, the carrier group, and the number of total flights. So for example, here we have on May 1st from Atlanta to Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Rome, there were actually 62 flights, which is pretty astonishing. Okay, so then what we can do down lower is we say, all right, so here's the first thing I did. I said, I'm going to make a grouping where I'm going to have every time there is a distinct combination of origin airport, destination airport, I'm going to create a new group for that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new data frame that'll tell me how many flights there are, because I'm going to use the total column, and I'm going to sum that. I'm not taking an average, I'm taking the sum. And then I'm going to reset the index, because if I don't do that, my data frame is going to be very strange. So when I do that, and then I take this new data frame and I sort it by the total, and I say ascending equals false, so that means it'll do it in descending order. What I can see is that every single one of these has a different combination of origin airport, destination airport, but there'll be no repeats at all. So in other words, basically, for the whole data frame, every time there was a flight from LaGuardia to Lester B. Pearson in Toronto, that was all put into the same group, and then we added up the total values for that. So for all the time that this data frame covers, there were 136,911 flights from LaGuardia to Lester B. Pearson Airport, and that's the most. The second most was from John F. Kennedy to London Heathrow at 111,000, etc. Okay, so then I say, all right, well, let's look at just the 100 largest here, and that gives us these largest ones here. And this is not that different because I already had it sorted from top to bottom. So if I wanted just to see the top 10, I could do that. Okay, so here's what I did here. I said, all right, what I'm interested in is I want to see where are people flying to. So not just like, I'm not interested in where they're flying from. I just want to know from the US, where are they flying? And so I'm making a group by that is only based on the name of the city that they're flying to. And then just as above, I said, all right, I'm going to create this group. And so every time there's a different city name, Y, which is the destination city, the city they're flying to, I'm going to create a new group. And then I'm going to sum how many flights there are to that city. Okay, so I created that. Now I'm creating a bar graph. And here's what my bar graph is going to show. It's going to take my new data frame that I just created here, and I'm going to take just the largest 25 based on the total column, because that's the total count of flights. I'm going to, along the x-axis, I'm going to have the city name. Along the y-axis, the total. And I'm just going to look and see, okay, here's where people are flying to from the United States. The most common by a long shot is Toronto. And then London, then Mexico City, then Montreal, Richmond, then Cancun, Tokyo, Calgary, etc. And so this gives me a sense of, okay, I can see where they're flying to. Now, suppose I'd wanted to do it by country instead of city. I could have said, because sometimes there might be, well, there's going to be multiple airports. For example, there'll be Toronto, Montreal in Canada. So I'm going to do it now instead of by city name, I'm going to do it by country name. And so all I have to do to change this is now say, instead of city name, I'm going to make this country name. And that means down here, I also have to put country, because that's what I want to show in my graph now. So I'll rerun this, and now I can see, okay, the most common destination is Canada, followed by Mexico, followed by the United Kingdom, followed by Japan, Dominican Republic, Germany, etc. And so, this is somewhat surprising. I'm surprised, for example, to see Dominican Republic as high as it is, but I guess that makes sense. So this way, whatever it is that you're interested in, you can take a look at that. You could say, all right, I want to take a look at, what airlines are flying the most to other countries. And I could say, all right, I'm just going to replace this country name Y with the airline code, which is all I don't have the actual name, I just have the code of the airline. And so I would replace the column names here with carrier, and it would show me what and I'd replace country name Y with carrier, and it would show me the airlines that are carrying the most people. Now again, if I wanted to see some combination, like I wanted to see the breakdown of combination of the destination airport and the carrier, or the originating airport and the carrier, I would have my group by be 2 columns here. I could have, let's say, country name X, or I'm sorry, I'd have city name X and carrier. And that would tell me, okay, how many flights left from LaGuardia on US Air, from LaGuardia on American Airlines, from LaGuardia on JetBlue, etc. And I could take a look at that. So those would be ways that you could look at different cuts of this data frame.